Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. I'm guessing everyone's back at work by now, or most people are after a nice holiday period. I unfortunately am myself. And I think the AFL players at this point are no different. I see most of the teams are starting to train again, and we're seeing track reports start to trickle out. So, yeah, pretty tempting to make changes to your team and stuff based on those. But me personally, I like to, use them, but I like to see some data from a previous season to back it up where possible before I make a decision. And I know, we're at that time of the year where it doesn't matter. You can make a million changes in your team and it has no effect. But, I think every year, and I'm guilty of this myself, people get really sucked into, what's hot at the time without backing it up with some kind of data. And I don't think it's the way to go. Obviously, for rookies and stuff, it can be a bit hard. But, yeah, on these established players, to me, it makes sense to look at prior data, and that's what we'll be doing again today. So this is a pretty straightforward video. It's just defenders and their win versus loss average, so what they score in wins versus losses. As usual, there's no sub or injury games included. We just want pure stats. And you're probably wondering now, why would I be looking at this? What's the relevance? For anyone that doesn't know, I think it's pretty important because you get a player, let's use Amon for example, okay, so he's from Hawthorn. Do we think Hawthorn are likely to win more games or lose more games next year than they just did? So, if you think that Hawthorn's going to really slide, then Amon might be worth looking at, just for example. But if you look at the other end, someone here who obviously averages more in a win over a loss, like Sicily, if you think the Hawks are going to go on a run, then he's going to pick up. So that's why we look at it. And as always, can try and make an informed decision from there. So starting from the top, and I already pretty much just covered Amon. So yeah, unless you are probably in the minority and think that the Hawks are going to slide big time, I wouldn't really be looking at Amon because I think the Hawks are going to be pretty strong again. So Newman is an interesting one. So I've used his 2024 stats here because obviously he didn't play last year and he seems to be a pretty popular pick. Now I got criticised a few weeks ago on a video. Someone said I was picking on Carlton. I'm absolutely not, but I don't see Carlton in the top 8 this year. Is it a top 10 now? I don't know what it officially is, but I can't see Carlton being a top team. So whether they win a few more than last year, I don't know. I pretty much think they'll be around the same place. So that's more losses than wins, I believe. And yeah, Newman should do well, assuming that his body holds up. I mean, there's bigger questions on him than his scoring. We know he can score. It's just a matter of the body and his age and stuff, which is probably the same for quite a few of these players. You got to remember, these Supercoach relevant players that we look at in these videos, they're relevant for a reason, and a lot of the time it's not because they're massive scorers. It's because there's value there, but that always comes with some kind of risk, or there's a reason why they're a low price. Moving down, so we see Josh Dacos has got this nice 104.7 average in losses, which is 11 points clear of his win average. It's actually really skewed, and the reason why people will remember this game, he scored 198 in round 18, where Collingwood lost to the Gold Coast. So that massively inflates his loss average. If you take that away and just put in his average score into that round 18 instead, he actually ends up averaging slightly more in wins and losses. So yeah, it can be misleading with big games like that. But this is where it pays to do the research, because if you just look at these numbers, and this is why I like to do it myself rather than just read other people's stuff, you just look at these numbers here, you probably think, yeah, Dacos is an absolute star when Collingwood lose. Ball must be back in the half back line or something a lot, but it's just not true. So definitely pays to look deeper. That's what these videos are for. It's more just, we see a number or something that stands out, and it's important to go and see why that number occurred, I think. Real sciencey stuff here. Is that even a word, sciencey? I don't know. I'm no scientist. I dropped out of uni, but... yeah, Tom Stewart. So he's another one like Newman. The obvious questions here, it's not really on his scoring. It's on the age and the durability and stuff. But There's some people out there saying that Geelong will finally slide. I don't see it myself, and even if they do, I don't think it's going to be out of the 8 completely. But yeah, if you think that Geelong are going to slide, there's 8 points there up for grabs, and he's not got some inflated game in there like Dacos, so this is actually proper numbers here. Yeah, I can't see Geelong though losing so many games that it's going to affect his average though, because 8 points is not that far apart. Ridley, same thing. So we know he can score. Doesn't matter really in the wins and losses with the way he's priced, but again, it's just his body, and we know it's no good. So yeah, it's your funeral if you pick him, and I've been guilty of it before, and I went back again, and yeah, I will never pick him again unless something crazy happens. Probably need him to play at least a full season injury free for me to even consider it. And then we start to get to here. So starting with Ash, who's got like a 6.5 point differential here. I think they're really consistent through here, so it doesn't really matter. There's not much to look at. I will say though, if we look at it in a different way, these guys in the middle here, from Ash down to who's here, probably to about Noble. Any of these guys, they're ultra consistent either way. So you can kind of pick them with confidence, because it doesn't matter if their team's going to slide or pick up or just be mid-pack. They're just going to score how they score. Yeah, Laird's not really relevant here, but to be honest, I'm a little bit tempted by him because he's just so consistent. I expect the Crom will still be good again this year. A lot of people are dropping, or will expect them to drop down to about 8th or something, even to 10th, I've seen people predict, but even with the harder draw, I can't see that happening. But it just depends like what's available in that price category. And Laird doesn't have the double buy. He's just kind of a quiet achiever, I guess, in Supercoach. Skip Himmelberg, because even if he's scoring like this, I don't see how that's really too relevant with the way he's priced. We'll start with Noble. The reason why Noble, I think, is one to watch is in wins, he's got this nearly 102 point average. A lot of people are talking like Gold Coast is going to be a runaway train just because they've gotten Petrarca. And they got a couple others, didn't they, in the trade period? I honestly don't see it myself. I think they kind of... Let's see if this works. They kind of eroded a bit of the cake, or a lot of the cake, to put some more icing on top. I don't think that Petrarca is, what would you call it, like a net gain over losing Flanders, Ainsworth. I think it was another couple. They're hard players to cover because, at least, if nothing else, they're quite consistent. And Gold Coast, they just seem like a team. They have a really high top end, and they've got some good potential young rookies, but the middle is quite hollowed out now. And I'm not picking on Gold Coast whatsoever. That's just my opinion on how they look, but they do look a bit top heavy. Kind of reminds me of Port as well. So some good star players, or quite a few star players, but it thins out real quick. So I don't think they're going to be like this crazy unbeatable team that some people were talking about. I think they'll be around the mark. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're top 4, but I can't see them being top 2 or anything. Probably around 4th or 5th, 6th, something like that. But yeah, I mean, go for your life. If you think that they are going to just be this juggernaut, then Noble seems like a pretty decent pick. Actually, having said that, if he was to average, let's say, 102 even for the year, that's still not going to get him inside like the top 8 defenders. So maybe not, because he's not cheap enough, I think. Who's next? Rivers. So this is another one. A lot of people are hot on Rivers. I don't see it myself at all. We can see here that he's 10 points better off in wins. I don't think Melbourne are going to be a world beater this year. I can't even really see them being middle pack. And if he's only averaging 79 in losses, that's not encouraging at all, unless you think Melbourne's going to have that first year surge under King, which can happen. And they've still got some great players, but I can't see it. And there's a lot of data to back up as well that Rivers doesn't necessarily score better with CBAs, which is what a lot of people are basing it on. And I think I spoke about that in the the pre and post buy averages when Rivers started to get more CBAs. It's just not true for some players, and he's one of them. The data backs it up, so I would look elsewhere. He's quite awkwardly priced as well. So next we have Clark from Fremantle. So he's got the 11.4 differential. So he's far better in wins. But I think that's because teams, they tag him or put at least some attention into him. And it goes a long way to defeating Fremantle because we can see they want their attacks from half-back to come through Clark. Freo's another one that people are tipping for the top 4. So if you actually believe that, then I think, yeah, he's a good pick. And they don't have the double buy, so that's nice. Because I think it's 8 of the top 10 or something defenders have the double buy. Which is probably the most appealing thing about Rosie, but I'll get to him later. So yeah, Clark's not a bad pick. I mean, at the end of the day, if he's averaging still 97 in a loss, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'll skip Zorko. I don't really think he's too relevant anymore. Having said that, he's probably going to make a fool out of me again. Roberts. So it's a little worrying to look at this for those predicting the full breakout. I mean, you could argue that he broke out this year. He was pretty consistent and stuff, but I can't see Essendon winning a lot. And he's another one that he needs wins to score better. No doubt he can lift this loss average up, even if he got it to 90. Like, I still don't see him as being like a top 8. Maybe if you think he's a stepping stone or something like that. But at his price, I don't have the confidence to pick him based on any of this stuff. And Worrell too. This would appear worrying for Worrell, or for anyone looking to pick Worrell, especially if you think the Crom won't win as many games as last year. But he was massive in the 2 finals losses. Off the top of my head, I think he went like 120 plus in both of them. If the ball's just being smashed into the Crows' back line, he intercepts a lot. So, yeah, I think he's just finding his feet. He's still a young player, so I think he's a safer pick than Roberts, to be honest. I know he's had probably another year being Supercoach relevant than Roberts has, but I'm not picking Worrell myself, even as a Crom supporter. I think there's better options around the price. I'll skip Farrell because I think Rosie might make him a bit redundant. Like, even with Bergman moving to the midfield. And again, I can't see Port winning a hell of a lot. I think they're going to slide down even further than what they were. Especially if something happens to Butters or someone like that. They're in a world of pain, I think. Very similar to Gold Coast. Very top heavy, but in a worse position currently. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Crom supporter. Mills has got the nearly 16-point differential, so that's quite big, and it's definitely worth talking about. He's one of many Sydney players that suddenly seem quite relevant, or relevant as bargains, because they all score so much better when Sydney win, and Sydney had that shitty start to the season with a lot of injuries and stuff, but once Goulden and a few of the others came back, they got their stuff together, and yeah, that's why a lot of those players started scoring so well in the post-buy. So Mills, unfortunately, is one of those who has the injury concerns every year. He just can't do a full season anymore. If it wasn't for that, he'd probably be worth looking at. I think he'll have a pretty good role there across half-back or wherever he's going to be. He does score well, but I don't think I can do it again with the injury concerns. But yeah, this is good. Very good for anyone looking to pick him. Like, if he's going to average nearly 105 in wins and they win, let's say, 3/4 of their games, then happy days for you guys. But I think I'd rather put my money into someone else. And if I'm picking Sydney players with the double buy, it's Heaney for me. And the other one I'd consider is obviously Goulden, but possibly Blakey as well, I think. And I'll get to him in a minute. Then we move to McKercher. So a minus 18 here. So he's 18 points better off in wins. It's actually worse than that. So that's for the season in total, including when he was playing midfield and wherever else on the wing at the start of the year. Once I input the numbers to show only his numbers like once he moved to half back. Sorry, that was hard to get out for some reason. He averaged 82 in wins and 109 in losses. So you might be thinking, like, why is that bad? Because North lose a lot, which they do. I think North are going to improve this year. So that could hurt him because he needs a lot of ball back there, a lot of kick-ins, a lot of stuff like that. The other thing is, the obvious one, he's been training with the mids, so a lot of people are jumping off him now. But yeah, even if he does continue at half back, let's say they give up on the mid experiment thing, and that's where he starts the year, and in the trial games and stuff, people are going to be picking him again. But if North improve, and let's say they move up to 8 wins or something, it's going to impact him. It's enough. Minus 18 is enough to impact him. We saw over here what happened with Dacos when he had the one big game, and look at how drastically that affected his average for losses. So his loss average actually was down around 90 or something if you take that game away. But the same thing can be said for McKercher. Like, that's minus 18 a game. That's a lot. That could affect his average in a big way, I think. I haven't done the maths on it, but yeah, with the naked eye, that's a lot to be losing. But of course, it depends on North improving and whether you think they will. There's every chance they don't. It's probably going to be Clarko's head if they don't this year, but I can see it happening. I think if they all stay fit, their midfield's not bad. Okay, so Impey, he's another interesting one, minus 18.4. That's kind of misleading as well. So if anyone remembers back to the defender pre and post buy average video that I did, I mentioned that he had a huge spike in his scoring once Weddle was out of the team. So all the talk is that Weddle's going to be a full-time mid, or spend most of his time in the mid. So I decided to look up how Impey was without Weddle when it comes to wins and losses, and Impey averaged 111 in wins and 90 in losses. So as I said before, Hawthorn look like they're going to be a top team again. Does Impey actually average around that again? Like if Weddle's spending most of his time in the midfield, it's probably would see an uptick in Amon's scoring as well. I haven't looked into the numbers of that one, but yeah, Impey without Weddle is just, it's hard to ignore. He'd be a good pod, and I don't think they've got the double buy without checking. I'm pretty sure they don't. So I would keep an eye on him, see what's going on with Weddle. If Weddle's playing midfield, just pure midfield in the trial games, I think Impey is a really, really sneaky pod. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I just present the facts as I find them. But yeah, I would really be keeping tabs on Impey with those kind of numbers in mind. Jack Sinclair, I'm not worried about this one at all, even though the differential is quite large. I couldn't care less because he's still averaging 105 in losses. It's just that his win average score is so large. You end up with this differential. But yeah, the Saints should improve anyway with the players they've picked up. So I'm not worried about that at all. If anything, his average will probably climb. And then Blakey, who I mentioned before. So he's nearly 20 points better off in wins, which is massive. So 110.7 average in wins there. As I said before, these Sydney guys, they're going to score better because they should win more games. At least that's what it looks like, and that's what I'm tipping. So, yeah, it would be a no-brainer. He'd 100% be in my team, but they've got the double buy. So I don't think I can afford to have him and Heaney and possibly Golden. A lot of people looking at him, and then people are now looking at Kerner up forward, which I wouldn't be because I just can't get over that PTSD. But yeah, too many Sydney players, too many double buy players. It's just not going to work. And it kills me that the AFL, obviously they didn't do this on purpose, but the most Supercoach relevant teams have all been given these double buys. It's just insane. I hate it. The whole opening round thing is just stupid, but I'm not getting into that again. And then finally we have Rosie. So people probably wouldn't have expected this, that Rosie would have the largest differential and it would be in the negative. So he scores far better in wins. So in wins he's going at 124.3 and in losses he's going at 96.5. At first I thought this was probably skewed by the fact that he started the year in the midfield as he normally would, playing a bit of forward, whatever he was doing. Then he got moved to half back, and when I had a look at those numbers, it's pretty much the same. So it doesn't matter what goes on. He's a lot better in wins and losses. I think similar to Clark though, it's possibly because if you can stop Rosie or really limit his influence, goes a long way to beating Port. So yeah, I'm still picking him, but this is definitely concerning because, as I said, I think Port are going to be around the same mark, or they're even going to slide further. I don't see them improving. I guess it's a bit like Sinclair, where this win average is so high, it kind of doesn't matter. And Rosie, obviously, no double bye, so that's huge in his favour. But yeah, this is a little bit concerning. I wouldn't say like anti-pod him or anything like that, or I'm not thinking of it, but I think the case could be made if you think Port are going to really bottom out. But yeah, I'm not. Rosie's still in my team, and he should be in most people's. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but the positive way outweighs the one negative here for me. So, yeah, that's about it. I've presented the facts as I said I would, and yeah, I don't have much more to say. I think hit pause on this and take out of it what you want, make your own conclusions, or you can listen to me jabber on about mine, but that's YouTube for you. So obviously, with the way the trend has been going with my videos, I'll be doing this same category, but we'll move on to, I'm guessing, the midfielders next. Yeah, the ruck line is the one that's really intriguing me at the moment. I feel like with most people going Gawn and Cherry, which I am too, but there could be a massive opportunity right there to get a leg up on the competition. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't pick one of those two yet, but apart from their price, obviously. But in my opinion, this is how you can find opportunity to get ahead of the pack, is when a lot of teams all have the same thing. But then you got to bank on it not working, and Gawn and Cherry's probably going to work. So anyway, I think it's more the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, look for those opportunities where a lot of people are choosing the same thing, and if you can find a safe bet, maybe go for it. So yeah, as I said, I think that's all I've got. Let me know in the comments, and please like and subscribe. I feel horrible asking that, but yeah, it takes a lot of time to do this research, and it's just nice to see some subscribers and likes and comments and stuff. Makes it worthwhile a lot. That's the best part about it. So yeah, hopefully over the next couple of days I'll get the midfield video cranking, and I'll see you in that one. Cheers.